Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention, give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. And there are 4 stories I want to cover for this week, including Borderlands 4, and not surprisingly, a controversy Randy Pitchford had basically dug itself into and tried to address it, though, in his, however you want to look at it, though. The Circana numbers are officially out, and there's some interesting stuff that came out of that, though. Nintendo filing trademarks for a couple of IPs, which could maybe open the door to the possibility that these IPs could maybe in some way, in some form, make their way into the Switch 1 or the Switch 2. And finally, controversy has hit Marathon in probably not the best possible way out there, especially for Bungie and all. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description down below on this video, assuming you're watching this either on YouTube or Patreon. And also, it's worth pointing out the timestamps will also be in the description of this video as well, if there are certain parts of the video you wish to skip to and all. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call is the quick My 2 Cent. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and all. The first one has to do with an upcoming game called Ruffy and the Riverside, which is basically stated to be released next month. I've seen some footage of this game, or at least seen the trailer and everything, and honestly, I am quite impressed. I've heard some descriptions, and I kind of agree with this to some degree. Think of it as if Paper Mario was in, like in an actual 3D platform, how Mario is known for the 3D platforms and everything like that. Some are kind of comparing it to Paper Mario and Banjo-Kazooie combined. It's an interesting title, and one I will be keeping an eye out for, especially if a physical version happens or not, though. Right now, it does seem to be indicating it'll be coming to the Switch 1. No word about a Switch 2 version, at least at this time, at least as far as I'm aware of, though. We also want to point out that a new creators video came out for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Judging from some of the footage that they showed, it definitely does look impressive. But one thing that seems to have popped up for some posts is that it does seem to indicate that the game looks like it's running at 60 frames per second, though. Now, obviously, we'll have to wait until the final version comes out and everything like that. Some are claiming it will be out this winter. Still unclear if they mean winter like December 2025 or sometime winter next year and all. So we'll have to wait and see. But if what we're seeing is true, and if it is running at 60 frames per second, then yeah, that certainly looks nice indeed. I'm looking forward to playing this at 60 frames per second if that's the case. I'm also hoping that Age of Calamity will also get some sort of boost as well, maybe upgraded to 60 frames per second if it's possible. Be interesting if that one gets a free upgrade or the $10 upgrade we're seeing with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and all. We also learned that Square Enix has officially come out denying reports that a Chrono Trigger remake is happening. For those who are not familiar, there was supposedly a statement made during, I think, one of the creator of that series or creator of that game basically made that somehow got mixed in translation and everything like that. And well, this sort of caught people's attention, wondering if a HD 2D Chrono Trigger game was going to happen and all. Obviously, Square Enix is not saying it's not happening, it's not in the works or anything like that. But given the cat's out of the bag at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if some point down the road they do decide to remake Chrono Trigger, though. If that does happen, I would prefer they take the HD 2D route. I mean, we saw that with Live Alive, that went down the HD 2D route, and the recent release of Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D is certainly out as well. So I wouldn't be against them taking the HD 2D route for Chrono Trigger if the remake happens, but remains to be seen at this time. But for now, Square Enix is currently denying it. We also saw some new footage of basically Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2 and all, and honestly, based on this footage that has been shown so far, I'm impressed with what CD Projekt Red has been doing for the Switch 2 version, though. This is certainly very interesting indeed. Obviously, so far the footage seems to be only based off like the 30 frames per second. There is supposedly a performance mode which runs it at 40 frames per second, but I don't think we've seen any footage of that yet. But based on what's been shown so far, it is actually very impressive, and I'm very curious to see how this is going to play on the Switch 2 and all. Continuing on with Cyberpunk 2077, there has now been reports that although the sequel is sort of like years away before we eventually hear about it, there are now reports coming out that we could have a second city to go to be exact though. While Night City will still be it's certainly one area, the other area, I don't know much, but it seems to be referencing Chicago to a certain degree, so very curious to see what Cyberpunk 20, the sequel to that, is going to be like. I do enjoy the first game, though. I do give credit to CD Projekt Red for sticking with it and trying to fix everything about that game. So I am very curious to see what the second city might be. We also are learning that there are reports coming out that Nintendo is working with Samsung to build the main Switch 2 chips, though. Some of it is ranging from the idea that we might see a Switch 2 refresh, like a Switch OLED. Others are pointing to like a Switch 2 Pro, which I personally think that's unlikely to happen, considering the fact we didn't get a Switch Pro, so I'm not sure we'll see a Switch 2 Pro in any way. We might see a Switch 2 OLED, or maybe a Switch 2 Lite. I mean, that's a possibility as well, but obviously the momentum for the Switch 2 seems to be pretty high for Nintendo at this moment. Whether how that's going to play out when the system comes out on June 5th remains to be seen, but obviously they're working with Samsung at this time to build the main Switch 2 chip that's being powered by NVIDIA and all, and the claim is being powered by this T239 chip. We also learned that several new Game Boy games have been added to the Nintendo Switch Online service. Some of them range from some surprise ones like Survival Kid to another Gradius game and all. So certainly nice that they're adding more games to the service and everything like that. I'm sure a lot of folks are going to be waiting to see once the GameCube games start making their way over to basically the Switch 2 and all, and I certainly would be interested to see if Wii games eventually make their way over. That would be interesting if that does happen, but in either case though, some more games have been added on to the Nintendo Switch 2's online service. And last but not least though, we are hearing reports that the sequel to Stellar Blade is in the works, and that more ports of this game could be heading their way as well though. Right, the idea of them doing a sequel to Stellar Blade isn't that surprising considering how well received the game was. I enjoyed the game, I thought it was good. I will say I was impressed of the visuals, given how the developers Shift Up went from making just a mobile game to a console release, and I think that wasn't that bad either. And I still think the game is enjoyable and fun indeed. As far as what the ports might be, outside of the PC port though, there's no words of it coming to other systems at this time. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it makes its way to the Xbox Series X and S, or even make its way over to the Switch 2 if that does happen. I'm still curious to see what kind of exclusivity Sony has with Shift Up and everything like that. Is this game a time exclusivity or not? But in either case, I'm open to the idea of this game being ported over to other systems, including ranging from the Xbox Series X and S and the Switch 2 if it does happen. And of course, I am also curious to see how the sequel is going to play out and all. And finally, in the movie and TV show part of the My 2 Cent video, we are learning that the next Avengers movie has been pushed, or the delay has been happening. That originally was supposed to come out in May of next year, but now it's been pushed to December. Supposedly, an insider is claiming, at least according to some of this report, is that the fact is that they don't want to rush this out or anything like that. They want to give the the people some time to iron out certain things that need to be ironed out. Indeed, though, which while it is a little unfortunate, it won't meet its May release. It certainly is good, at least that it gives it time in the oven that it absolutely needs, though. So certainly that is good indeed, at least from my perspective. We're also learning that there are theories floating around with the possibility that Luke Cage and Iron Fist basically could make their return into the MCU and all. As some of you are probably are aware, though, Daredevil Born Again is on Disney Plus, and it brings the Netflix Daredevil to Disney Plus. In general, though, there has been some theories on whether or not we could see Luke Cage or any of the Defenders make their way into basically into the MCU and all. But with basically the first season wrapping up, with season 2 happening, reports about Jessica Jones making an appearance in Daredevil Born Again, or the next season of Daredevil Born Again, with also we saw the Punisher in there as well. I would say odds are pretty good we'll see Luke Cage and Iron Fist in Daredevil in the second season of Daredevil Born Again and all. So certainly I am open to it if it does happen, so we'll have to wait and see. And last but not least, and unfortunately with some sad news though, it seems to indicate that an actor has passed away by the name of George Welded, if I'm saying his name correctly though. He played one of the characters in the 1980s classic sitcom Cheers. Basically he was 76 years old. It's been reported that he died peacefully in his sleep, and he died of natural causes and all. He's also he also popped up on Saturday Night Live, with the famous The Bears and everything like that. I also saw him, I think he also appeared on an episode with Drew Carey on Whose Line Is It Anyway? But nevertheless, though, it is unfortunate that he did pass away. He was 76 years old, and I will say my heart goes out to his family and his friends, and of course anybody who is a fan of his work and all. Okay, with the Quick My 2 Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we'll get started with our first story. This one has to do with the upcoming Bungie game Marathon and kind of the controversy it finds itself strapped to. Now, Bungie has sort of been kind of in sort of an odd place here and there ever since, Destiny, the original Destiny came out and everything like that. There have been some criticisms about, that and Destiny 2 in terms of some of the directions they were going and so forth. And then when they got purchased by Sony, the question was them bring them into their expertise on the live service type of situation, which Sony was really hardly pushing, although they did find success with Helldivers 2, they also found failure with Concord, which didn't last very long, and the cancellation of the live service Last of Us that was supposedly been working on. And there's not to mention there's been some criticism of targeting Sony in terms of them wasting so much time on live services and everything like that, although that is certainly debatable to a certain extent. Well, the next game that was going to be coming up for Bungie was basically the extraction shooter Marathon and all. Now, I wasn't really looking forward to this game or anything like that. I'm not into extraction shooters or multiplayer only experience or anything like that. I understand there's an audience for that, and that's fine. If you're into that game, great. Nothing wrong with that, though. It's just not something that interests me, though. However, recent reports started to come out that basically some of the footage or some of the art styles that was shown may have been taken from another studio or another individual who may have worked there, and that kind of created a downward spiral for Marathon at this time, to be exact though. Some of the articles coming out here, this one is from WCCF Tech. It reports on an original story saying that, quote, that they were taking art without the artist's permission and putting it in their game since I've been on Marathon. A person posted on X that Marathon's alpha is covered with assets lifted from a poster design they made in 2017, with design comparison assets were essentially copy. Bungie, of course, is not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I have refrained for the last decade. they continue while posting more evidence. But clearly, my work was good enough to pillage the idea and place it over the game without paying or attribution or anything. I don't have the resources nor energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I have lost counts of number of times a major company has deemed it easy to pay a designer to intimidate or steal my work than to write me an email. In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designs from huge companies moonboarding and plagiarizing my design while I struggle to make a living. Though there's more to the story if you want to read it though. But on an update from that article, it points out that Marathon's game director and franchise artist appeared on a Twitch live stream that was previously meant to be Bungie discussing feedback from the game alpha, which it did, but it began with discussing the assets that were taken from this art designer, and prepare a statement that wasn't all too difficult from the one Bungie already gave through its Marathon dev team X account. This person confirmed that the lift assets will be removed from the game and that a thorough scrubbing of the rest of Marathon's art assets will be done to ensure there's nothing else that's missing. They also added that Bungie is working to make this right with this person, and they reached out to her and tried to do just that. He was asked by viewers why didn't Bungie just hire this person instead of removing all the assets. He confirmed that they are open to collaborating and contacting this person to work on Marathon and work with Bungie on making art for the game, but clarified that the lifted assets need to be replaced with original assets created by Bungie's artists. And of course, there are now reports that basically fans are discussing about what's going on then. They've been trying from this article from IGN, and now there are many questioning about the game's success and whether or not that could happen at this time. Though some are calling this, perhaps this could be a Concord situation, to be exact. I don't know 100% if that is going to be the case, but there's no denying this is bad for Bungie and Marathon and all. And the question is, should this game flop based on this whole situation? Just how bad of a flop are we looking at if that were to happen and all? So this is not good for Bungie and basically Sony itself though, and it'll be interesting to see if the game meets its launch date, if they can still meet it, or if they push it back to try to undo this damage that's been going on with Marathon. And should Marathon flop, and based on the controversy surrounding it, it's by no means out of the realm of possibility. It will be very interesting to see what happens to Bungie though. Will Sony still keep them around, or will they end up basically, killing off the company just like they did after Concord was released? After that game came out, they killed off that company that they purchased and everything. So it's not looking good, and it will be very interesting to see what the sales results are going to be once Marathon is out into the public, and whether or not this whole controversy in terms of stealing this person's artwork and putting it into the game without their permission, we'll be very interested to see what impact that does have. So overall, not great news for Bungie's upcoming game, Marathon and everything like that. And it's going to be really interesting to see how big of a damage this does to the game when it does eventually come out and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with some new trademarks that Nintendo recently filed and all. And this has led to some speculations on the possibility that we could see these games maybe come to the Switch 2 and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Nintendo recently filing, several trademarks and all. Now, it's not unusual to see companies, now and then file trademarks, though. Sometimes it usually is maybe to protect the rights for certain things, but other times it could usually be a signal of something that could be coming along the way, though. I mean, we've seen patents get trademarked as well. And, well, we've seen Nintendo trademark certain games, like, for example, Eternal Darkness has been trademarked for them for a while and everything like that, but that never, unfortunately, saw the light of day, which is unfortunate because there are those who would like to see that game, come back or, like, make an appearance on the Switch 2 or anything like that, though. But recently, there have been a couple of trademarks that recently Nintendo has pointed out to, and assuming what's going to be interesting, assuming this is correct though, is that it could maybe somehow make its way over to the Switch 2 as a possibility and all. The first one has to do with a report that came out, excuse me, from a user by the name of Stealth440K on BlueSky, and recently they pointed out that Nintendo renewed trademarks for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption and Metroid Prime Hunter today, although this post on BlueSky came out on May 19th. Meanwhile, Video Game Chronicles is reported that Nintendo has filed a new trademark for the defunct development studio Kling's 2007 DS adventure game Hotel Dusk Room 215. I remember kind of playing that a little bit on the Nintendo DS. That was kind of like a point and click type of game, to be exact though. This one also got a sequel called Last Window, The Secret of the Cape West, which I remember, I don't think that made its way over here to the US or anything like that though. So I will say this is very interesting and everything like that. I mean, could this lead to any kind of situation? Is it possible this means these games could make their way over to the Switch 2? I mean, it is possible, but at the same time, it also may not mean anything at all. On the other hand, though, there was, a couple years ago, there was a trademark filed for, I believe it was basically Trace Memory, though. That was a game done by Kling itself and everything like that. And that led to eventually the release of, basically in January 2024, called Another Code Recollection. It was basically the Nintendo DS game Another Code 2 Memories and its 2009 sequel Another Code R on the Wii. So it's by no means out of the realm of possibility that these trademarks could lead to some of these games making their way over to the Switch 2. The Metroid one, I kind of can see because there have been some reports coming out about 2 and 3 making their way as well. There's been no word on how that's going to happen. It's possible 2 could make its way over to the Nintendo's Switch Online, with GameCube games now making their way over there as well. Excuse me. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption would be kind of interesting to see how that one is handled, considering the fact that that was developed around the Wii Remote and Nunchuck when that game came out, I believe, back in 2007. That said, Skyward Sword was ported over to the Nintendo Switch, and the developers did find a way to make that game with the traditional controllers in a way. It took some workaround, but they were able to accomplish that and everything like that. Metroid Prime Hunter, on the other hand, that would be interesting to see how that one would do if that does see the light of day on the Switch 2, considering the fact that that was developed with the touchscreen on the original Nintendo DS and everything, using the stylus and all. So it would be really interesting to see how that would work should Nintendo bring that over to the Switch 2. I'm not saying they couldn't figure something out, but that would be interesting indeed. As far as the Hotel Dusk games and everything like that, again, I do think it's possible they could bring that game over and everything like that. I mean, with the Switch 2 now having like that mouse feature that we now officially know exists, that could be an ideal choice for to bring that game over to the Switch 2 and all, using the Joy-Con as the mouse and everything like that, make it like the true point-and-click adventure. I mean, hell, I think Trauma Center could work on the Switch 2 with the mouse feature if utilized correctly and everything. So yes, this could mean nothing though, but it could mean something at the same time as well. So overall, I would say very interesting trademarks indeed though. Obviously, we don't know if these will see the light of day or not, but given the fact that Another Code, if I'm saying that correctly, what is it? Oh yeah, Another Code did see the light of day on the Switch 1. It's by no means out of the realm of possibility that Metroid Prime 3 Corruption or Metroid Prime Hunter could make its way over to the Switch 2, along with the 2 games in the Hotel Dusk series as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with the Circana numbers that have just recently came out. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at March 2025's Circana numbers and all. Now, Solow put out the numbers on this week, and this one, I would say, based off what they are saying, to be exact, April turned out to be a very good month for Microsoft in a way, which is kind of surprising, considering that there have been some, they point out like hardware sales are down here and there, but it does seem the hardware did okay, to be exact though. But obviously it had to do with big 3 releases, at least for those systems, that seem to have done pretty well at the very least. And that's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Forza Horizon 5 now making its way over to the PS5, and the remaster or remake version of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which, I mean, the reviews so far seem to have been mixed to some extent though, but it doesn't seem to have done enough to prevent the game from being what apparently was a big success in April. In an article from VG Charts, which points out some of the stuff that Matt Piscatella pointed out in terms of on his post on BlueSky, it points out that the PS5 was the best-selling console in the US in April 2025 in terms of units and dollars in sales, according to the figures from Circana. Date for the 4-week period of April 6th to May 3rd. The Xbox Series X and S came in second place in terms of units and dollars in sales, which that's pretty interesting because usually it would be in third place, and there's been reports that hardware has been down, but obviously it came into second place though, and I do think it kind of raises questions about the whole people's view on Game Pass in general. There are some who think that it cuts through certain things here and there, but so far it seems to be in second place in terms of the Xbox hardware, Xbox Series X and S, in terms of dollars and sales. The Nintendo Switch came in third in terms of units sold and dollar sales though. That one I'm not really surprised though. I mean, the Switch one has been out since basically 2017 though, and so it's been out for a very long time. That, and I think a lot of people are gearing up for when the Switch 2 comes out next month and all. So that, I'm not really surprised about that one though. In terms of dollar sales, the PS5 is down 5% year on year. The Xbox Series X and S is up 8%. That one's kind of interesting though. And the Nintendo Switch is down 37%. Again, I will say that's a big number and everything, but not really surprised because, Switch 2 is just around the corner. Digital SKUs for April account for 66% of the Xbox Series X and S sales and 48% for the PS5 sales. Obviously, we're seeing probably a lot of people, we see Microsoft really pushing for that digital sales and digital stuff and here and there and everything. In terms of the games, they point out that Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster is the best-selling game in April, though, and interestingly enough, it sold more units in the first 15 months. It sold more units than Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion did back when that came out in March 2006. So that one's pretty interesting, to be exact, though. They point out that Claire Expedition 33 also, did very well and all. So in terms of the top 20 best-selling games for April, they have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered at number 1, Forza Horizon 5 at number 2. It was at 42 last month. MLB The Show 25 at number 3. Minecraft at number 4. Assassin's Creed Shadow at number 5. Indiana Jones at the Great Circle at number 6. That was at 118 last month, something to point that out. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 7. WWE 2K25 at number 8. NBA 2K25 at number 9, PGA Tours 2K25 at number 10, Monster Hunter Wilds at number 11, Split Fiction at number 12, The Last of Us Part 2 at number 13, obviously because of, HBO's, Max's The Last of Us series and all. EA Sports FC 25 at number 14, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 15, excuse me, obviously that's still going, and everything like that though, and obviously maybe some hype because of Grand Theft Auto 6 to some extent. Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 16, Elder Scrolls Online at number 17, Elden Ring at number 18, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 19, and Hogwarts Legacy at number 20. I'm curious if some of that has to do with, the Switch 2 version of Hogwarts Legacy and all. In terms of the 20 top best-selling games in 2025 year to date, it has Monster Hunter Wilds at number 1, Assassin's Creed Shadow at number 2, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster at number 3, MLB The Show 25 at number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 5, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at number 6, WWE 2K25 at number 7, the newest entry in the Civilian series at number 8, NBA 2K25 at number 9, PGA Tour 2K25 at number 10, Split Fiction at number 11, Minecraft at number 12, Forza Horizon 5 at number 13, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 14, EA Sports FC 25 at number 15, Madden NFL 25 at number 16, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 17, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 at number 18, EA Sports College Football 25 at number 19, Hogwarts Legacy at number 20. In terms of, let me see if I find the best-selling games on the PlayStation platform or the PS5 premium ones, they have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster at number 1, Forza Horizon 5 at number 2, MLB The Show 25 at number 3, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle at number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 5, Assassin's Creed Shadow at number 6, Minecraft at number 11, WWE 2K25 at number 8, NBA 2K25 at number 9, Split Fiction at number 10. On the Xbox platform side, we have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster at number 1, Elder Scrolls Online at number 2, Minecraft at number 3, Assassin's Creed Shadow at number 4, WWE 2K25 at number 5, NBA 2K25 at number 6, PGA Tour 2K25 at number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 8, Split Fiction at number 9, and Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 10. I do wonder with the Red Dead Redemption 2, that has to do with, the hype surrounding Grand Theft Auto 6 and all. And finally, on Nintendo Switch, or the Nintendo platform, we have Mario Kart 8 at number 1. Obviously, some of that has to do with the hype for the upcoming Mario Kart World. Minecraft at number 2. Super Mario Party Jamboree at number 3. Hello Kitty Island Adventure at number 4. Okay. the 100 Line Last Defense Academy at number 5. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 6. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at number 7. MLB The Show 25 at number 8. Hogwarts Legacy at number 9. Again, I wonder if some of that has to do with the Switch 2 port, to be exact. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder at number 10. So, obviously, the takeaway from this is the big winner is pretty much Microsoft for the month of April, due to not only the Xbox Series X and S seem to be doing well in April, but the fact that 3 of the games, though, that came out, though, at least the PS5 port of Forza Horizon 5 and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, plus Oblivion Remaster making it in, obviously did very well for Microsoft. So pretty much I do think they were the big winners in April, to be exact. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things are going forward later this year, especially with, the upcoming Ninja Gaiden 4 and everything. And I also think it kind of throws into question those who claim that Game Pass cannibalizes some of the game sales and everything like that. I mean, there's some argument back and forth, but when you see how well some of the 3 Microsoft games did, it does kind of throw into question the whole argument of it cannibalizing sales in general. And seeing the fact that those 3 games did well on the PlayStation, on the PS5, it does kind of make me wish, Sony kind of stepped up the plate a little bit, though. Maybe not focus too heavily on the live service, though, which has been one of the criticisms some folks have given to Sony lately during the PS5 generation and everything. So, but in either case, though, interesting numbers indeed. It'll be very interesting to see what May's numbers are going to be like, and especially June, once the Switch 2 officially comes out and all. So, overall, very interesting Circana numbers, but it's pretty clear. I do think Microsoft was definitely the big winner of May of 2025's Circana numbers and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our 4th and final part, and this one has to do with a comment made by Randy Pitchford in regards of Borderlands 4 and all that did not sit well with a lot of folks, and him trying to sort of defend basically this comment and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part four, or our final part of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And this one has to do with Borderlands 4, particularly with its CEO, Randy Pitchford. Now, one of the interesting announcements that was made during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, when we started to reveal a lot of interesting information that came out, along with Cyberpunk 2077 coming to the Switch 2, we also saw that Borderlands 4 was coming to that system as well. And that was kind of interesting indeed, especially with some of the footage that was shown during the Nintendo's Creators, which, if assuming I'm reading this correctly and assuming what they showed was legitimate, it does seem to indicate that it looks like it was running at 60 frames per second. Now, that might be different. We could be wrong on that, though, but that's what it seemed like it looked like, though. Well, the thing is that as much as I enjoy the Borderlands series, and I am considering taking a look at Borderlands 4 in general, it's the CEO that I have issues with, Randy Pitchford. And unfortunately, he does, let's just say, some questionable decision, questionable behavior that he has done in the past. One of the most notorious ones, of course, is the Alien Colonial Marine debacle, where he's faced allegation that he took money that was supposed to be used for Colonial Marines, but used that for Borderlands 2, which many view as probably the best entry in the Borderlands series. There's also some of his questionable behavior, including some incident with medieval times and some USB port, to mistreating some of the employees, to be exact, to basically the whole situation surrounding Duke Nukem Forever, to also when the Borderlands movies came out, which bombed really bad at the box office, some of his comments that he made or it's questionable behavior that led to him backtracking on some areas, though. Well, recently he basically made some comments that came out that many feel like he put his foot in the mouth, and it got so bad to the point that he tried to play damage control, though. This has to do with a comment that was made on X, formerly known as Twitter, and this had to do with a question that was being asked. One person basically asked and said, "Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80." Excuse me. And feed this notion of constantly increasing of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. This has sort of been an issue for quite some time. There has been some concerns about a lot of these video games costing $80. We saw some folks that were concerned about this when Mario Kart World was announced, and that was going to be at $80 and all. And also, not to mention, given where the economy is right now, the concern is not everybody can afford it, though. Well, Randy Pitchford did respond to this, and it did not go over very well with a lot of folks. He said, quote, "A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starfight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Now, even if you agree with what he's saying, that did not go very well, and some people openly criticize his comment on this, though. Some of it felt like it was tone deaf. Others felt like it was an inappropriate way that he said it and everything like that. So it didn't exactly sit very well with a lot of folks. Well, a couple of days later, he tried to basically downplay it or play damage control, to be exact, though. That basically try to handle it, though. This is from an article from Nintendo Life that pointed out that spotted by Eurogamer. Pitchford attempted to defend and justify his comments with another post on social media. This time consisting of a video where he answers questions of how much Borderlands 4 will ultimately cost. He stated that Borderlands 4 has more than twice the budget of Borderlands 3, which may well contribute to the final price of the game. Though he said, as artists, we want everyone to have it. There are factors which have to be considered, including tariffs for retail packages and more. So, I mean, it's possible he could be right in terms of what he is saying, though. There are certainly a lot of factors, though. But the way he answered it, I do believe, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, though. And unfortunately, he has a history of doing that, though. And this sort of adds more to the problem. Now, whether or not this will have a negative impact when Borderlands 4 comes out, that remains to be seen at this time. Most people believe it probably won't, but time will ultimately tell if that is the case or not. To me personally, I think it could have been worded better, and I certainly am not a fan of his comments and everything like that. I mean, I'll eventually am going to consider getting Borderlands 4, but for me, I don't see it as something I'm going to pre-order right away. In fact, it's more like something I'll wait for either a sale or buy it used when the game does come out, though. Also, we don't know when the Switch 2 version is coming out, so that's also another thing as well. So I will say it wasn't exactly a very good comment that Randy Pitchford said. Even if some of it is true or partially true, I do think he could have worded it better. So overall, unfortunately, this is another case of Randy Pitchford putting his foot in his mouth and unfortunately rubbing people the wrong way again and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the controversy surrounding Marathon and all? Do you think this controversy is going way out of proportion? Do you think that it is the criticism, what Bungie's doing in terms of stealing someone's art to put in Marathon is justifiable? Do you think this will have a negative impact once Marathon comes out? Or do you think it will have little to no impact at all? What are your thoughts about these trademarks that Nintendo recently filed, though? Do you think this is a sign indicating that we could see these games make their way either on the Switch 1 or possibly more than likely Switch 2? Or do you view it as nothing really new, they're just renewing old trademarks and that's it? What are your thoughts about the April 2025 Circana numbers? Were you surprised to see Microsoft actually do very well in these numbers? Were you kind of surprised to see them, the Xbox Series X and X, come in second place and everything like that? Or were you surprised or not surprised to see the Nintendo Switch in third place? And do you think this is a signal to indicate that I think most people are preparing for the Switch 2 when that comes out? And what are your thoughts about Randy Pitchford's comments about Borderlands 4 and some of the comments that he made? Did you feel like some people misheard his comments or viewed it the wrong way? Or do you think this is another case of him putting his foot in his mouth and really upsetting a lot of folks like that? Do you think he could have worded it better in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this either on YouTube or Patreon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!